Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Unscripting Mario. Your interviewing host, Emil Bonte.
Thank you, Victor. I am here to introduce our third episode of our interviews with Mario. But first, I would like to take a second because it's never too late to fix what you forgot to do in the first two episodes, which is to explain the purpose of this debacle that you're watching, which is essentially this is a interview show in which I, as an aspiring biographer, am looking to write a series, let's just say 2 books, based upon my mentor, Mario Hemsley, in which we explore his aspirations and his life that led him to becoming not only a doctor, but head of baby doctoring. What did you? What's the official title?
Pediatric hospital.
Head of pediatrics for Kaiser.
I don't know. No, I wasn't head of pediatrics.
Well,
but I was perhaps the first ever hired to do exactly what I did.
Okay, so you did something extraordinary, but you were your specialty was pediatrics, and also being that I've never met a person that is also more creative as well as that has a professional side such as doctoring. On the other end, he's just as creative as he is professional, is what I'm trying to say. I drank a little bit today. And we're also going to explore that side and find out what drove his creativity, how he came to become such a wonderkind when it comes to independent video marketing and so forth, what drove him into making his own band, what drove him into building a studio and pretty much Pax Stereo together. These two, there's so much information that this should be able to fill 2 books, and this is the byproduct of behind the scenes of the biography and stories that will be put into these books sometime in the hopefully near future. So you're getting a sneak peek of the information that's going to be in these books. And let's get into it. We only have a certain amount of time, so let's learn what we can about our subject. Good morning, Mario. Well, afternoon now. Good afternoon, Mario. How are you doing today?
I'm just happy to be here.
I'm happy to hear that you're happy to be here. So, just as I mentioned up top, this particular episode, we would talk a lot about family dynamics that affected your environment and made you the person that you are, that affected yourself, your interest, and your sense of humor and stuff like that. But I have to now talk about the one thing that is central to building a person's character, which is bonds of friendships. So I want to talk about the friends that you acquired through your childhood and throughout school, what your college was like with your friends, the type of stuff that you did with them. In your later adult life in the hospitals, did you acquire any friends, and how did you bond with them as well? And lastly, now, who are you hanging out with? Who can stand you? And and vice versa. So let's go back to let's start with your childhood. Do you remember the friendships that you developed when you were younger?
Well, I think like a lot of folks, it's part of this social development and your circumstances. You know, when you're very young, things exist on a very simple level. I think it's when you finally start going to school, though, right? Mm-hmm. That the nature of your relationships seem to change. School is a huge part of that socialization process. So I think for most of us, how part of that whole friendship journey has to do with our adaptation to school.
Of course.
And that could be stressful, right? That could be good.
It is how
challenging.
Most people seem to bond through misery and homework, which is one and the same. So, did you not befriend your neighborhood kids, or were they all in your same school? How did you develop your friendships as a child?
Well, I remember, we were the second black family on this block, mm-hmm. which is now a historic view park, recognized historic area mm-hmm. from black history. When I moved here, it was not.
You were in the transitioning
It was
from.
in the transitioning. It was essentially a white area that had a few blacks had moved in. Like I said, we were the second on my block.
Okay.
So at that age, this was about 9 years old.
Okay.
Eight or nine. I turned 9 when I was here.
Uh-huh.
At that point, that's when you're really starting to develop, more friendships. You started, because again, but most of it seems to come out of school. I don't have a lot of bad memories from then. I just remember that we were mostly ignored on the block.
Well,
but it wasn't a problem.
Well, what exactly attracted you to people? When you were a kid, what was happening back then that drove you to each other, a common interest that made you find friendship?
But again, I still have to go back and think about school. But I would say that in general, from an early age, I seem to have a certain affinity for the misfits, the alternative folks, the ones that were not quite so.
This was even at an early.
In the mainstream, right? I seem to have, and I'm not exactly sure why. I had sort of an affinity for those who were somewhat different. If you happen to be the girl that was 6 foot tall in the 4th grade, you were the guy that was 3 feet tall, or you were the overweight person, or you were the person that was unattractive, or this, or you were the geek or the nerd. For some reason, I seem to attract a certain group. Now, I didn't look at it that way till I was older.
Okay.
I would think maybe because if I had to look back, my analysis would be that I was not so judgmental, and therefore I was more willing to respond to people's energies, kind of like whether they were pleasant or kind, or so that kind of a feeling that they brought. So a lot of my friends, I would say they're at least of similar consciousness, okay? But they would tend to be all over the range in terms of fitting into traditional.
Are there any particular people that stands out? Do you remember any people who you who you were friends with when you were 10, 11, or 12?
I mean, there was some stuff I did that was kind of crazy. When in junior high, my buddy, who I hung out with mostly every day, he was the number 1 person in the school doing the dozens.
Do you have a name?
I was the number 2. This was Clarence. We don't necessarily want to give all their.
Well, if you have to give out their full last name, we're not gonna.
My buddy Clarence. Okay. I was in like the 8th grade.
Okay.
He was the best. The dozens, is the traditional practice of talking shit about people's family, mother, in a joking way. So he was the number 1, but I was number 2. We were both pretty damn good, and we would just spend all day talking about each other. And then I remember one day I elevated because I was at the house, and I said, my mother was in the room. I said, "Hey, Clarence, tell my mother what you said about her. Tell my mother." What'd you say she was driving the garbage truck? What was she driving? See, so I was the first one to start pulling in family. So he was like, okay, see, okay. Because then when we were at his house, he would call it and tell him what Mario said. And my mother would be like, you guys get out of here with that stupid stuff. And we were always practicing cracking jokes on each other.
Okay.
And so I say that because that skill set serves me today. That's exactly part of the reason why I have such a smart ass sometimes, and I can get good with it because I have training. I was good with it a long time ago. I was a smart ass, and we were practicing it. Every day we talk about his mother, he talk about my mother. I would talk about your mother. I don't know the bitch. Tell her stop calling me. She needs to bathe first. We used to practice all kind of shit every day. Mother, talk about your mother, your clothes.
So what else did you do?
So that was to us creativity, by the way. We would never bullies.
Of-
Okay.
It was mutual.
Right.
Yeah.
But then there were times you needed to have those skills, talking a little shit.
Okay. What else did you guys do together?
Play basketball. You know, what kids do at that age, I think, at least up here, you want to kind of run free from your parents.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as you could, you would try to get out of the house to run free, which often involves some kind of sports.
So
we were playing basketball over at somebody's house,
mhm.
you know, a lot of days of the week after school.
So that was a lot of bonding over sports and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
was it just basketball?
Well, I was lucky to live on this block at a time where right after the turnover. Remember, I told you I was the second black family.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you had a bunch of people who moved in, the white folks that stayed, everybody opened up, and we sort of came together as a block. So we kind of had a good block because there was a lot of kids.
Oh, so you did
You
have
could
a
play. You could play.
Okay, so you did have a strong
Yeah, you
neighborhood.
could play.
Okay.
You could play, and there was a lot of kids you could play. And you could have groups and cliques and all that, whatever you needed, you know.
So were you
Some of the
familiar
girls
with
would play.
were you familiar with the parents as well, with your friends' parents? Was it a close neighborhood?
We were experienced of our friends' parents in the ways that it was that way in the 60s. Like, for example, if you happened to get in trouble and got a whipping, everybody in the whole block knew it. I know, look at the face. See, we would hear about me telling you, we heard you get your ass kicked last night. See, so I'm just saying, back in those days, everybody knew stuff.
Okay.
The parents would, you know, spank you, then send you outside in shorts so everybody could see it. They wanted to see it. The school, I remember the parents would be talking to the school, and the school was saying that yes. The parents were, well, I would be discussing that with him. That's what my mother said. I will be taking this up with Mario. Just as soon as I get off this phone. I'll be discussing this. So that's the way it was done back then. It was a different world.
So what was the neighborhood dynamic like back then? What can you remember? What can you tell me?
Well, it was a positive because a lot of my stuff in the 60s,
Mm-hmm.
you had the air, even though with all the civil rights stuff building, you had the overall sense that society was moving somewhere positively.
It kind of feels so
Things
familiar
were
to
happening.
now, doesn't it?
In a way.
Yeah.
In a way it does. Even though I've been waiting for this because you had a difference between now and then. You had a whole lot that happened in between, right?
Mhm.
In terms of different vibes. But while you had this air of conflict, a lot of social conflict,
Mhm.
you also had the overwhelming air that we were moving and changing and growing as a society. And that is very much what is happening today. I was in that group where it was happening. I was in LA's first busing program. When LA first entered into busing, which was supposedly for overcrowding. It's just that all the black schools were the ones that was overcrowded.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't for integration. And the school that signed up to partner with this area, my mother told me later that Palm's parents and stuff, certain schools volunteered to be part of the program, Vic, and Palms actually volunteered to be matched up with us.
Palms?
Palms Junior High.
Yeah, true.
Palms Junior High. So when I was first bused, I was bused to airport.
Okay.
Airport Junior High.
What was-
they really didn't like us. These white folks were out.
It was
Signs.
a white school.
Well, yes.
Predominantly?
All the black schools were overcrowded.
Okay.
So they were going to bus us to the white schools for overcrowding.
And it was met with
First
parents
of all,
protesting.
It's like walking the gauntlet. I was one of the kids on the bus where you pull up and they out there with the signs and the placards.
What effect did that have on you? Did you understand it, or was it?
I understood the white folks didn't want us there.
Okay.
It was easy to understand white folks back then because they were pretty straightforward. We were like, we don't like you.
It's again kind
We
of
don't
feel
like
familiar
you,
to
and
now.
We don't want you here.
Yes,
So
very
that was
good.
very easy to understand. Okay, they would add nigger to whatever they said, but you know,
All right.
we didn't have that part.
All right,
you know.
you just pointed out the difference between there and now, but
Right.
it's
They
the
were
exact same,
the
except
police would tell you, we're not here for you, nigga.
wow,
We're not here to help you. Okay, that's the way police would talk to you.
wow.
And that's what you were used to from the police.
Especially for LA, that is, it's very shocking for, especially for somebody from my for my age set is
Well, it was
that blatantness.
Watch
Yeah.
riots happened then. You had all that going on. You had a bunch of stuff that happened that was historical. At UCLA, the shootout over the first Black Studies in the department. You had a bunch of stuff where there were incidents around the city that were racial.
Were you?
That was part of the everyday fabric of the 60s and 70s.
So, back to the neighborhood. Because of all the turmoil and things that were happening socially, was that also did that play a part in why everybody was getting close and getting to know each other? And
I mean, I think it always does, Emil, because you do stuff out of necessity. When I think about it, that I walked, like a lot of young people, when I started out in junior high going to parties, we walked to the parties. They were in the neighborhood. You know, whether we meet up at your house, we go up here, oh, you guys look so nice tonight, you're going to the party. And then we would walk to the party. It would be like dusk. So I showed you what time we were going to the parties. It wouldn't be totally dark sometimes. It'd be like dusk. We'd be walking to the parties. And we'd walk to parties and events in our neighborhood. And, you know, and then there wasn't that much in terms of incidents at that point.
So what did you do back then when you were a kid? Did you have sleepovers and stuff like that? What exactly did you do with your friends back then?
We did a bunch of sleepover stuff. Now that you mentioned that, I think maybe it was a way to give the parents relief.
Of course.
You know, you think it was us.
Yeah.
They were probably going, we want to go out. Instead of having a babysitter, you go over so-and-so's house. Because it seems like either they were over our house, or I was over their house all the time. All the time. Because a bunch of my good friends were also family, they were the children of family friends.
Okay.
So, you know, like they would visit, my parents would be in the living room talking or whatever, and we'd be doing stuff, getting into mischief. So they were family friends. In fact, my earliest loves, my first two biggest loves of my life were the daughters of family friends who I met because the family friends were visiting.
Okay.
So one of them's on Facebook to this day. Sabrina would love to hear me say.
So what else were you able to do with your friends back then? It's the 60s. Can you paint a picture of what was like for a kid? What one could do as a kid back to have fun back then?
Yeah, for one, there was a lot more going on around the neighborhood. For example, after school, we had playground immediately. So immediately when the school ended, they had open playground. That means when class let out at 3. Like at 3:15, they had carom boards for these little games you would play with the shoot, the little sticks, and all these games. They had the balls that would come out. They had after-hour directors. I remember because I think of the jobs that were available for the teachers. My mom mentions this. That would be an extra job to do some overtime, to be the after-school supervisor on the playground.
Okay.
A lot of schools had that email where after school kids could play. For a lot of parents that worked later, they depended on that. You would stay at the school and do the thing. You knew kids that were like that too. You would stay at the school till your parents were done, and you would play school stuff.
Yeah.
And so I did it too, just out of fun.
Okay.
Which kind of reminds me, because you did that email, you reminded me of one of my little moments in time that I'm not sure what it means, but maybe it says something about Mario.
Okay.
I used to always be at the school after school, right?
Yeah.
It was regular to be there an hour and a half. I could be there at 4 or 4:30. Okay, school let out at 3. But I could be there. So, the school, remember I told you the neighborhood had been changing.
Yes.
So you still had some white folks, and you had mixtures of this and that.
So there was some diversity around.
There was some diversity. So, I remember after school sitting around watching people play tetherball. There was this white girl with long hair, usually in 2 long plaits, braids.
Pigtails or?
Yeah, well, whatever you call them today.
Yeah.
Braids, okay. This white girl. And she had a hook on her arm, or she was missing the lower part of her right arm. So she had a hook. So you
Like
see
a
the hook come up, and then you see the hook part. So I guess you could do, I don't know what hook, I can't remember that well. But all this, I think the arm may have went to here, I'm not sure. Somewhere in there, she transferred to the hook. So she was playing volleyball. And she would hit with both hands.
Uh-huh.
And so when she would hit on this side with the hook, she would hit it like right here.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So I was watching her because she was kind of good. She was usually playing by herself.
Okay.
Okay, so
And-
I'm sitting there watching her, right?
And being that you are drawn to you,
And I'm like looking at her at this hook, and I'm like, I'm gonna go play volleyball with this girl.
okay.
You know, and I kept watching her, and I kept thinking about it. I'm gonna play volleyball. I'm gonna go. So finally, it's funny how the memories that you think of. I go over there and say, "You want to play? You want to play volleyball?" And she has kind of a dismissive attitude.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she wasn't like overtly friendly. She was kind of like, "Okay."
Okay.
And I was like, "Okay." So she served up the ball, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So she was coming out hard and shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in a minute, I was like, I don't give a goddamn about your hook. I'm about to whip your ass. Some damn volleyball. And so we was battling.
And she was good. I take it.
She was very good, and then I was good too.
Uh-huh.
But I don't even remember to this day who won. I just remember we never talked a lot, but we played every now and then. But I always felt sort of a connection because I was one of the kids who was never afraid to go play. I think people were afraid of her hook. And so the fact that I would go up there and I wouldn't cut her no slack, you know, it would be like, let's play some volleyball. Just treat her like an equal.
Yeah.
Just treat her like that. Just go at it. That kind of shaped the way I thought about things for a long time. So maybe that's why I think of her. Because she didn't need any pity.
Mm-hmm.
Nor did she want any pity. She wanted to play some volleyball. And she was going to come hard, okay? She was going to come hard. You can imagine me playing this white girl with a hook. And tetherball, not volleyball.
Yeah, tetherball. Yeah.
Whatever.
Now you talked about going to movies and stuff with your dad. What was the experience like with going with friends? Was that different? Did you only go? You also, I believe, talked about going on to movies with dates with your friends as well. Did you ever just hang out with your friends at movies, or?
There's a lot of time periods that are separating those kind of events. For example,
Just tell me what you remember.
by the time I was going on dates.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now we're dealing with late high school.
Okay.
I was going on dates, but movies were a different thing at that time in Miller. It was before the internet.
Yes, I've.
You know, this is before they had movies on television. Because I remember when they first started putting movies on television. Because everybody's like, damn, they put a whole movie.
Yeah.
They used to have just, little episodes and stuff down there. But they had a whole movie.
That was in the 80s.
And then it was old movies.
Yeah.
But then they started something called the Saturday Night Movie.
What's that?
They put like a hot movie. It was still kind of, it was not fresh in the theaters or anything. It was still kind of old.
It would be considered.
years.
It would be like
Right,
straight
in the
the
last
video.
5
Yeah.
years or something.
Yeah.
And that would be the big movie. Saturday Night Movie. People getting around the TV. Saturday Night Movie. Like Ed Sullivan on Sunday. Ed Sullivan, no one did anything but watch Ed Sullivan.
So were films more like an event when it came to you and your friends?
Well, it's just that you didn't have a bunch. Everybody knew them.
Mm-hmm.
And so when it did happen that there was something to see, you went to the movie theater and you spent a day there. Like 50 cents. I remember when my first movie prices I remember paying
50
was
cents.
35 cents at the Lemert and then 50 cents at the Baldwin. And people were complaining about the Baldwin being more expensive. It was because it was 50 cents. And the Baldwin's like the 75 cents. And they were really complaining.
Was it at least fancier? Was it better?
Yeah, it was in a way, it was. But, back then people were funny. It was what money went a long, long way. And so those experiences were different. So you would always see a double feature. It would be a double feature, 2 movies, for like 50 cents.
were you a person who traveled around by walking or by bike? Did you have a bike? How did you guys get around?
I had bikes, and I walked, and I did skateboarding too. I rode a skateboard from my house to the Coliseum.
You skateboarded?
From my house to the Coliseum.
Jesus Christ.
Back then you were crazy like that, and that was with my buddy on a bike. Because part of the way I was on the skateboard,
holding on to
his bike.
Yeah.
But other times I was moving. We went from here to the sports arena, Coliseum.
Wow.
I used to go over there to swim in the pool.
The pool was around. So the pool is that old.
Yeah, I used to go to the pool over there, and that was some of my buddies, the same ones that was spending the night. Their family lived over there.
Okay. So you were able to. What was the pool like? Tell me what your experience was like.
If you go look, it's there now. That's the pool that LA built for the Olympics.
I'm asking you for your memory. Tell me about it from your memory, your perspective.
They had roped off towers that you couldn't climb up to.
Okay.
You could do the first level. They had a high board.
But
after that, all the other levels was that Olympic stuff.
Yeah.
And it was roped off. But everybody down there, somebody would try to go up and sneak past and jump off. But even just a regular diving board, the regular one, it's like it was higher than the one at Dorsey's pool. And you may know Dorsey's pool. I don't know if you do. But that had a high board too. That was challenging to all of us.
Okay.
That was challenging. So just to jump off of that was a big deal. To dive off of it was a bigger deal. But I managed to at least dive.
Okay.
Off of the Dorsey one. I think at the Coliseum one, I only jumped off of it. I don't think I ever dived. I may have dived once.
Okay.
But they were tall enough to scare you. Remember, in the old days, kids got to play with things that today
weren't
illegal. Like we had jungle gyms on the playground.
I'm sure you remember.
You could climb on and fall off and break your neck.
I had jungle gyms. I had them too. But I didn't have a lawn dart. That was insane. That the kids younger than me had. You remember the lawn darts?
No.
Some bright person decided to get darts the size of a small huge darts with sharp, basically javelins, and you could run with them and play lawn darts on your lawn. And they were sharp, and you were
crazy shit, right?
Yes. Back in the day, if you were to see the advertisements for these lawn darts, you would be like, somebody's out of their goddamn mind. But they were available and popular back in the day for children.
Right. And we survived.
Yes, and we survived, indeed. So, what other than pool, basketball, movies?
Let me add something to this.
Sure.
It was common in those days for children to do chores. Way different than today.
How so?
Everybody I know had some work to do around the house. Damn near every day.
Okay.
Had daily chores.
Okay.
So, and then you had weekend chores too. Now, you don't even hear that word so much today, right?
No, not really.
And so when you came home, you had things to do. Some people had housework to do. Cleaning this, washing that, doing this. So I didn't have so much work when I first got home so I could go out and play. But then it hit. We had to share an evening dishes and all those kinds of things to get that done. So I had stuff to get done often.
Okay.
Even on the weekends. Even though my mother appreciated the need to kind of run free, I can still hear her say, if I was you, boy, I'd get all my stuff done and be out of this house before noon. If it gets to be noon, I'm going to find something else for you to do.
Okay.
You could know that I got my stuff ready and got out of that house, running out that front door like you were able to break for freedom. Like, you see your buddy down the street, everybody come running, free. Then you would go to the other buddy's house and his mother would say, David belongs to me today. And if you stick around here another 3 minutes, your ass belongs to me. And we would all leave. Those are specific memories.
So what was it like when you were in junior high? what were your interests back then, and what did you get into with your friends? Was it more the same, more sports? Were there other things that you were interested in when you were like 15, 16?
Well, I mean, junior high.
Yeah, before high school.
Yeah. An interest that lasted me well until about 10 years ago, which was women.
I thought you were about to say masturbation.
Women began to obsess, being obsessed in junior high the way that men obsess. I assume the folks who were not heterosexual begin to obsess in their way too. But I was obsessing, and that obsessing that starts when you're in junior high with the then defining of what you presume to be your masculinity, or in the case of women, their femininity. Defining self is part of what makes the challenge of adolescence for most of us. We don't want to go back to between 13 and 18, right?
Yeah.
That's like death, right?
Yeah, that was a hard time.
Damn time of our whole life. And so for me, that was true because the earlier Mario, while being a thinker,
with a horny
being
thinker,
introspective, right? I had a more critical view. That's the story I think I even told you before, where one day in high school, it must have been 10th or 11th grade. It wasn't, because I was waiting on my ride.
Okay.
I was watching people on the playground, and I remember there were people running around the field. The track team was doing something or whatever. It's that regular after-school buzz.
Mm-hmm.
People doing shit, and I was just watching all the kids do shit, and I was thinking to myself, "Wow, how come?" I was talking to God actually. Kind of personal moment. I was like, how come you didn't give me nothing? How come I'm not special? How come I don't have anything I do? What? They're fast, or they're strong, or they're handsome, or they're something. How come you didn't give me anything?
Mm-hmm.
What do I have? Who am I? And what are my skills? Now I think to myself, because I remember these moments. I remember there was a point in time, even when I was in my 20s, I thought to myself, boy, the good Lord must have been laughing at me. He must have just been chuckling. I was sitting there going, and I felt so unspecial.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that was one of my challenges in my adolescence. I don't know what other people feel, and I think for a lot of us it's similar. But I felt so unspecial, and that's not even a word, right?
Yeah.
But I just needed so much to define who I was,
mm-hmm.
and I was not appreciating at that time.
Did you
was
have
already an obvious skill set of sorts?
Did you have friends and people around you at the time?
That was amazing. My friends would have a different memory of me. Like one of my buddies would always tease me, says, "Excuse me, but I was there, and to me, you were popular."
Really? And you still felt alone?
Well, I would say this depends on what you mean and how you worked at it. I gave events and parties.
Okay.
Remember, I was part of the other group. I hung out more in high school, like with the jocks, the football players. But I actually won, in your senior class award, where they vote all this stupid shit, most likely to succeed,
mm-hmm.
best couple. I actually won most cuddly. And I told people, it sounds like a fat award to me, because I had an issue with my weight.
Uh-huh.
And they was, well, I didn't get nothing. You at least got an award. Because the girl that got most cuddly girl, she was a little fat to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, this is a fat award. Most cuddly. I didn't necessarily want to be most cuddly, but I was most cuddly.
Mm-hmm.
But, to me it was a fat award. So I wasn't like waving it around like, oh, I'm most cuddly. It just seemed like a fat award to me. But I had parties that people went to. People knew me. Mm-hmm. Maybe it comes out of that need to be whatever. Okay, because obviously that was something that was in my head that wasn't really true.
Yeah.
Okay, but it was in my head, and I wanted to be better and be defined.
Because it wasn't a prominent trait that you can point to. It's like you're getting these results, but it's not of something really specific. Like, you can tell that guy got that girl because he's a good-looking dude.
Defined, right.
Yeah.
You're having to compare yourself. You're being forced to, right?
So
that's what high school and junior high does.
Yeah, and as a kid, you're not going to look to, hey, he has a great personality, as something that is actually real, when in fact you having a great personality it is a good reason and why you acquired so much. It is a valuable trait to have.
Right, and my buddies, even though I'm not sure they thought that per se of me, but we did engage in these conversations because they were going through their own shit too. Like, you know, sometimes I was the downer guy. Everybody starts thinking about what they can't do. You know, but it would be your friends that would tell you, but hey, but you do this better than me. So your friends would come and chip in. Okay, they would go, okay, how come you dance better? You dance better, you're giving us the dance lessons. I was like, well, you kind of right. But I can't dance better than you clumsy asshole. That's your friend.
Yeah, of course.
But like your friends will remind you. They remind you of what you were good at, you know? And then you would say, okay. They would say, okay, but you're pretty good at sports actually for a big guy. You know, because I was shooting and scoring in basketball somewhat. It wasn't a big score, but I scored. It wasn't like nothing.
So, what was high school like for you? And did you make a lot of friends in high school? What portion of your life do you feel you had the most friends?
I never worried about it per se.
That's not the question I posed. And what portion of your life do you feel like
I feel like I have a lot of friends now. Okay,
So,
in high school I had friends. And because of my personality, they tend to be truer kinds of friends.
Okay.
I'm not the type of person to have a lot of bullshit kind of. That's not me.
Gotcha.
So I tended to have friends, a mixed kind of a group.
So this was
So you have all the different people would be my buddies.
So high school was after airport.
Yeah, airport, and was the first busing program. I went to 3 junior highs.
Wow.
Audubon,
Familiar.
Airport, and Palms.
Okay. And is that where you met Vic, or?
I didn't meet Vic till I was a resident at County Hospital.
All right, we'll work our way there. We'll get there soon. Trust me.
I met Vic when I was a resident.
All right, we're in high school now. So tell me your experience with your friends in high school. What was that like? You're past puberty, so you're getting used to your body has changed.
It's all defined by women to me when you start thinking about all that. Who thinks about high school or junior high and doesn't think about their sexual growth? I mean, that's kind of one thing you think, well, or lack of, right? Whenever you think of junior high, you still were wondering shit, you know what I'm saying, whether you did it or not. You weren't undressing your teachers?
No.
By the time I was in high school, I was undressing my teachers. I was looking at my geometry. I was like...
My mother made me feel so weird about everything when it came to... when it came to the,
think about it though.
I didn't do.
You didn't sneak some dirty novels or some pictures or none of that shit?
No, not until much later. Much later, I would say 11th grade was when I started to do exploration.
All right.
But back then, I felt so guilty about everything that it was something that you would try to avoid constantly. So. I didn't really curse. I cried when I cursed when I was in elementary, which our mutual friend Trayvon laughed and mocked me for, because he was fascinated by the fact that someone so old refused to say the F word and had to be tortured, literally physically tortured, before he could actually say the word. Because
you were a weird child too. You would have been my friend.
I'm your friend now.
That's right.
It didn't go away.
And you're weird now.
Yes.
That's probably why we're friends, because all that kind of whatever.
So I can understand.
Weird women too, by the way, who also relate to me sometimes.
So I can kind of understand the bonding of when it came to women and basically was your obsession in just lustful, or did you ever get a feeling of trying to understand them, or was it just?
Well, I would say even from then to the day, the main theme of being Mario's woman, being in a relationship with me, is having to
understand
be part of that friendship. I am really I think the impressions that people have of me as a person are not really what I'm like in a relationship. That's what I've been told.
Okay.
I know a lot more nurturing than people ever expect. Like, I'm the guy who always will grab your hand crossing the street
Okay.
or in a crowd. I just do it naturally.
Even back then when you
Even
were...
back then, I do little stuff like that. Sometimes I remember, you remember people being shocked. I remember women being shocked that I was nice, quote unquote, to them. Like, I mean, I used to say that about...
Were
Dick
people
too.
mean?
Well,
I'm
some
confused.
guys women can talk to about women shit.
Okay.
And some guys women can't.
Oh, God.
And I'm one of those guys that women have always been able to talk to me about their shit. That made us have friendships of a different level.
Oh, okay.
So I've always had women friends that were really friends. I mean, you see me with women friends.
Yeah.
I have women friends that are really friends.
Was this common among your group? Did any of them?
Everybody thought it was weird, so it wasn't that common.
They thought it was weird?
They thought it was a little weird that I had so many women friends, or that women that I dated would be friends of mine. My father used to tease me. He says, you got all these old girlfriends of yours around. And I would say that's, and I argue that it was a virtue.
Did you?
Because we were legitimately friends, so when we stopped dating, they didn't necessarily want me to go nowhere. They still wanted our friendship.
And this wasn't weird to you? This felt natural? Did you see their point of view of why it was weird? Or did you just, it was like, this is my friend?
I understood the point. In other words, and my old man was big in introspection. We talked about that before.
Mm-hmm.
I was willing to look at relationships, and I was also challenged to look at relationships in that way. I was never encouraged to have a chauvinistic point of view.
Okay.
Controlling. Never was I encouraged in that way.
Okay.
And my mother, being as independent as she was, would always explain, your father wanted to give me an allowance. I'll be damned. So I had my mother talking like that, who was friend. I understood her too.
Uh-huh.
So as I became older, and of course my mother being the model, too, I looked for relationships where the women and I communicated. It was natural for me to have friendships with my girlfriends. And some of my guy friends,
yeah, how did this translate
like
with your male friends?
Well, I've seen men have trouble with women friends. I really have. And growing up, who are more likely to have friends with guys, and then have a different. I've seen women do it too, where they'll be friends with women, but when it comes to men, there's another aspect to the relationship that makes it hard to be friends. That's a little different than me.
Did you find out why you were able to do it while others don't?
That's why to this day I have.
So you
I
never.
have a lot of old girlfriends that consider themselves my friend, care about me, express that.
And you, as the person who consistently thinks about these things, never once thought to yourself, wow, I seem to have this special trait in which I am able to have not only connections with women, but connections on women based on personality, bypassing biology that my other male friends find strange.
Well, no, because I had the same conflicts that everybody has too. In other words, I had bad relationships and relationships that failed too. Mm-hmm. I just had more, it seems, relative to my peers, it seems that I had more women friends. It seemed that way. And certain of my friends were that way too. Then I had other friends who seemed like they didn't really have women friends.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you develop a lot in high school? What was your friendship like in college? Were you able to have a bigger balance of males and females when you were in college, or was it all in high school?
Well, it wasn't my balance. I'm saying there was their balance.
I know it turned out the way it turned out. Yeah.
In college, it was even better. As I got older, it got better because you have more to be intellectually stimulated by.
You got comfortable with your.
When you're younger, you just need to be.
It's complete biology.
Or you're friendly. Or I like the way you smile and go he. There's subtlety.
Yes.
Because I liked the women who had softness about them. If you were a little hard as a woman, like a little masculine or a little, I didn't. I responded to the softness. Now, and then it allowed me to bring out a side of me, which is soft.
Because you
Which is
like to
which is a
nurture.
better side.
But you like to nurture.
Right. So in college, because everybody's older, intellectually now, I found out slowly, because you don't know anything, that I was going to get to know you. I don't know what other people did in relationships. It seemed like some of my friends had more superficial relationships to me, more about just the sex. Now, mine was about the sex too, but I just wanted to know you more. It seemed to me that I would get into your head.
Why?
Because I was curious. It was my natural nature. I cannot be. If I
delve a little bit deeper.
It's like if I really care about you, it's hard for me to not meddle a little bit.
Meddle? Why that word?
Meddle, but I'll notice stuff. I'll pay attention.
Okay.
You know, I can't help it. It's like you see stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because you care.
So
other people thought that I did that too, because I've been accused of that.
Manipulation and stuff like that?
I've had women that said, you know, Mario, I had one say, Mario, I can feel you watching me and judging everything. Everything. I can feel you judging everything. I said, well, that's kind of like your answer, right? I said, I certainly look and see things and my mind tends to analyze, but I don't hold that against people.
So do you feel that when it comes to connecting with people, you connect, you have a deeper want when it comes to connections with person?
I think that a bunch of us, not just much, I don't know how special it is, that's what I'm saying.
Well,
there are a lot of us who, when we're in relationships, let's put this, we notice the people don't do it, right? But there are a lot of us who, when we're in relationships, understand the value of truly connecting with people. And even
but there's to a point of getting to know them or wanting to get to know them.
I can tell you, even my guy friends that were like my close buddies, they would tell you they feel a special kind of support from me. They feel a certain kind of bonding. They feel my love for them.
Okay.
And they know I got their back. They will tell you they can feel that. Okay, and those are my guy friends, and I'm not gay. But I'm just saying, they can feel the love, okay? Now, some people don't give that up. Like, you watch the president, he may give it up to his daughter.
Yeah.
But I'm a person who gives it up a little more to my friends and my girlfriends, which also accounts for the way I would act when I would be mad at them. So when I would get mad at them, I would withhold the friendship.
Okay.
That's where my bitchy side is, right? I won't let you talk to you about your job. And you can't wait to tell me about your work week and your job, and I'll just, I won't talk about it. I'm done with that.
Are there any particular friendships that you had in high school and college that stands out? Any particular people? Again, you don't have to use their names.
A particular one
that were special to you.
At every stage, there are particular friendships. Not a ton of them, but a small, close group.
Tell me about it.
So there was all of that at college. One thing about, to me, and I had again, for a young person, it's funny my views on that. I could see that as you went along, you had to change friends.
What do you mean?
Friends, because environments would change.
Mm-hmm.
You would need to either add friends or let go of friends. Because by the time I was in high school, I had already gone through a period, at least once or twice.
Of disconnect?
Yeah, moving on. That's like in junior high when some of the friends of mine chose to start, there'll be their early criminal activities.
Oh, wow.
So I separated out those who wanted to actually aspire to certain things that I didn't. So there was a separation there.
Was that hard for you?
No.
Somebody that empathize and that can they can feel the love coming from you.
I think back on it, and I remember it feeling like trials and tribulations. But when you say hard, I don't remember feeling bad.
Really, losing your friends didn't feel bad.
You have a little. See, you do have that in there, but it wasn't overwhelming because you needed to move on.
Okay, so
it had an air of sadness to it, melancholy.
Okay,
because you needed to move on.
But because there was reasoning for it, you were able to
focus on the negative.
Gotcha.
And it happened usually fairly quickly for me to establish the new group. when the friends in the block separated over on the block, separated because the kids that was becoming rowdy, and the ones that didn't, they called us square or whatever. Then those relationships of the ones that were forced together, that grew. Brenton and David, our block split almost from the guys who wanted to be assholes to us who wanted to do. I don't want to make us sound like we were too good, because we really were. We were still, but we just weren't going to be overt, criminals and all that shit coming up. We felt compelled to try to cheat.
Basically, a line was crossed. You had goals.
Our parents, all that shit.
So
that had already happened.
We're running out of time, so I'm going to have to. We're going to have to. This is going to have to be a two-parter. Do you mind if we continue to talk about this next time?
You could. It's you the one.
Yeah, we.
I know, ladies and gentlemen.
So this is going to be a two-parter.
What we talk about.
Yes, we do.
The deal was that Emil wanted to do the book, and he had to do the interviews, and then here comes me, his buddy, going, "Oh, regular interviews. We should do a video show.
All right, so
broadcast everything."
Let's now make this a three-way conversation, because we got 5 to 6 minutes left. Let's tell. I want to hear. I want you to tell me how you met Victor, and then I want Victor to tell me how he met you. I want to hear both.
I met Vic.
This is going to be great.
It's interesting. This correlates to your last question. At one of those times where you look up and you have to redefine your friendship. Because that happened to me a number of times. And when I met Vic, I was sort of in the middle of that. I met Vic because as a doctor in training at County Hospital.
To set up, we talked about this. Give me a time, set it up. How old were you? What was happening?
It was like 1983.
Oh wow! Okay.
Okay.
Wow, that's a long friendship. It's a very long friendship.
No,
okay.
I'm saying we might not have been friends till 85.
Oh, okay.
No, actually, because he moved in, wasn't it 85?
Yeah,
so it was 83.
Probably a little bit earlier.
Hey, no interaction.
It's 81.
Hey, maybe 81. Anyway, I used to work at the LA County NICU, neonatal intensive care unit.
NICU?
NICU. It's a big old room full of premature babies and term babies.
Incubator? It's like incubator?
Right,
okay.
Right. Bunch on ventilators.
Okay.
Big old room, 40 babies sick on ventilators.
Okay.
So when I would do my overnight call, I would bring in my tapes. My little cassette tapes.
Mixed
play
tapes
them
and stuff?
softly in the background.
You made tapes for babies?
No, I made tapes for me.
Okay.
My tapes, my regular tapes. Jazz, R&B, regular tapes.
Okay, I thought it'd be like
a little boombox in the nursery, right?
Okay.
I would bring my tapes in and play my tapes. They're like, "Oh, Dr. Hemsley, your tapes are so good and so mellow." No, Dr. Hemsley, look, everybody loved my tapes. I did the same thing in the ER in LA County.
Okay.
I was playing thing in the middle of the night because you were working all night in the middle of the night, 4 in the morning. So the clerk, who was the nighttime clerk, who did the paperwork, chart stuff, he heard my tapes. He said, "Man, yeah, I do tapes and I know some of them cuts," and we started talking. We became buddies.
Okay.
Okay. Victor and his group were friends of his.
Oh,
and I
okay.
met Victor and them through him. I went with he was doing stuff. He lived in the neighborhood, like a bunch of them.
What was the tell me about what do you remember about the first day you met? How did you meet exactly? What was that meeting like? What do you remember?
I don't know.
Let's move on then.
I know that the thing that
so
you
don't remember
initially had to do
with
loosely with music.
Okay.
Whether or not we were making tapes, Victor and them were singing. They were like,
we
were like sort of.
I was in
my
a singing
buddy
group.
who I met, the guy at the nurse, who from the NICU, the clerk.
Yeah.
He was an aspiring gospel singer.
Wow.
He wanted, and Victor and his buddies were in little groups with him. And I wanted to be a songwriter, so I had never written any songs. But when we met each other, I had written the poetry.
So it was just serendipitous meeting that you had the same interest.
We were all creative and hadn't really done shit though.
All right,
hadn't really done shit.
Victor, do you remember the first day you met Mario?
You know what? Be honest with you. I'm gonna say no, but I can give you the recollection of when I think it happened because
that'll work.
The tape. Doing tapes was it. Everybody, because Dwayne Jones. We're in music. We were in a musical group.
You were in a group at this time?
Yeah, I was in a group. We were, wannabe group.
All of you
You're in a
singers?
group because you said you was.
You were in a group
got
because you
together and
said
did
And
rehearsals.
all of you were singers, or were you songwriters and singers, or
singers minus one.
Okay.
I didn't really sing, but anyway,
But he sang and all the shit.
Yeah.
He sang with us.
I knew how to blend.
So he actually sang over
so
here
background
too.
and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So all I can recall, if I had to go back up, Mario didn't come to my house with Dwayne. I wasn't at Dwayne's house meeting Mario. I think I went over to his duplex the first time on 54th near Mullen, Rimpaw. I can't remember. And I think Dwayne brought me over there, and he opened up. You had a sliding door where you had cassettes, your music and stuff. I vaguely remember this.
He had like a musical setup.
He had a cassette. You know,
was
you can
a
have a wall.
closet.
It was a closet.
Closet.
I remember going over there and meeting because you guys were already working together.
We were
We all
making
made
tapes.
music and stuff.
Okay.
And that's what I recall. And it was definitely 80 or 81 because I remember going skiing with Mario in 81 and the woman he went skiing with. That's my
Ida.
recollection. Ida.
I was like,
That's
catch
how I
Ida
can.
now.
Right. You know what? Stop.
Did you hear about Mario before you met him?
Only like a friend. Oh man, one of my buddies is in music too, man.
Okay.
Cassettes.
Okay.
And
I was at the hospital.
that was it.
And the whole thing was that you didn't have that many doctors doing this kind of stuff. And my point was I was going to use my medicine to help fund my creative career.
And were you transferring music from records to your cassettes? Where were you getting the music from? Where you were making the
Well, I
tapes?
had been collecting records since junior high.
Okay.
Even to the point where I used to allow myself one crate, one of those Foot Lockers.
Yeah.
I would allow myself one Foot Locker of albums to go to Howard. The rest
Okay.
had to stay home.
Okay.
So when it came time to go back to school for the summer or whatever, go back at the end of the summer,
Right.
I was narrowed down to one Foot Locker of albums they got to go. What the other albums had to stay.
Right.
So I had albums for years. And since we were making the tapes, remember I told you I got the... Eugene noticed me because of my tapes in the NICU at night.
Okay.
So then other cats was making tapes. Then we started getting together to make tapes and talk on the tapes. Hi, I'm Mario Hemsley. We had the Jones Boy.
Yeah.
Victor Allen was Victor. You know, he had the collectibles.
The collectibles?
That was the name of his series. Then when we would
Oh,
make the
okay.
tapes, like if he made a new tape,
You had to
after
beat
a
it.
while he had to make copies to give me and Dwayne. And then we was got to the point we wanted to have the copy with the songs written on the the cassette little box.
Okay.
We wanted the song listing too. So that's where it got to be funny. Because if I gave you a copy of my latest tape and it just had the date and the title and no listing, you're like, what the hell is this? What's the listing?
Okay, everybody, we have to put a pin on it. We're going to have to remember. We'll continue your friendship. We'll talk a little bit more about it, but unfortunately, we run out of time. So I would like to thank you again, Mario, for your time, and we'll continue to explore your friendship from college and to your doctor. You as a resident at your doctor and beyond. We'll do that next time. So I now throw it back to Vic to lead us
I
out.
want to thank you too, Emel, because for everybody watching, Emel's been very good about this experiment. Typically, a biographer sits around and records hours of tapes. And instead of doing hours of just tapes, he's agreed to do a show where he answers the questions, and then we go on and transcribe it. So I got to commend you again for allowing us to take this traditionally a handheld tape recording process and turning it into a show.
I thank you for the opportunity for us to have these conversations. They're great, but we gotta head out. Thank you again. So I thank the both of you, and please, Vic, lead us out.
Beautiful. Hey, usually I have words, not many. This was a flow. It went almost like a visualization. I enjoyed it. That's all I have to say. And we close this segment out, Unscripting Mario, with our interviewing host, Emel Bonte. Till next week. Peace.
We're on time? No over? Oh, thank God. Okay. Getting better. Okay.
Something your mind can feel. A broadcast machine, 24/7 days a week. A social media stream, we are not corporate. We're indie to the core, free to do our own thing. We are who we are, and we are Pax Stereo. We are the new view. We are Pax Stereo. We are the new view. We are Pax Stereo. We are the new view. We are Pax Stereo. We are the new view.